Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Ride 4. We're going to be using the Harley Davidson XR 1200 XRM right here in Imola, because Ride 4 fans rejoice, Achievement Hunter fans rejoice, because the Imola Grand Prix Time Trial Challenge has now been fixed. The original time of a 1:53 was unobtainable for any of the best players in the world on Ride 4, so therefore it has now been fixed. We've been given the correct time for this variation of Imola. But going into Toast on the left hand side, I'm still riding this one like it was the original Time Trial Challenge. My best time was a 1:55.3. I do believe I got under or closer to the 1:54s, but obviously it hasn't registered the time if that's the case, but it doesn't matter anyway now, because that's a thing of the past, let's say, as we get a little bit out of shape on the entry into turn 8 there, as we now flick it to the right for turn 9. A lovely section of track. I love this part of Imola. To be honest with you, the entire track of Imola is fantastic. Of course it needs resurfacing because the bike just bounces around way too much, but it's not too bad in the sense of surfaces. It's not as bad as Circuit of Americas in MotoGP 21, for example. A lot of treacherous bumps and grooves in the track that makes it very, very dangerous. But my review so far of the Harley Davidson XR 1200X is not so bad so far. I did expect a little bit more oomph. It does lack a lot of top speed, and for some reason I use semi-automatic gears, and for some reason every time I drop it down to second in certain corners, it just wants to fire it straight back up to third without any warning. It just wants to chuck it up straight into third. I don't know why. It just tends to do that. I even tweaked the gearing and it still did the same, so I just left it back to default. I made a little bit of a mistake here going into the very anti-basser. Just managed to move the bike onto the right hand side there, and there it is. Imola tackled. Easy stuff this time, and now we can get the gold for the first time. So let's move on to a British track back in Ollerton Park, one of my favourite tracks in the world, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a pro gamer spinneroony here to start this Grand Prix. A little bit of a spin, holding around 11 miles an hour. Now we can go for it. Beautifully done. We're probably giving the opponents about a 6-second advantage there. I just fancied doing something different opposed to just waiting at the starting grid and holding the clutch in and revving the engine. I thought I'll do a little bit of a spinneroony. I hope you like that. I think if you liked the spinneroony, be sure to like, comment and subscribe in the comment section down below, and do all that goodness. Share with your friends and whatnot, because everyone needs to see a spinneroony to make their day a little bit better. If Saturday's not going so grand for them, chuck them a spinneroony and see how things will change. But we now go on to the right hand side for the Shell Oils corner, as Ralph Wack must have gone down, as Ralph is now ahead of us, but not by very much, only 1.3 seconds to the German ahead of us. Now breaking into the somewhat difficult, it's a bit of an innocuous corner into Britain's. As long as you carry a nice amount of speed, don't go too quick, you'll be absolutely fine into that little bit of a chicane there, as we now charge down to the somewhat of a back straight, chucking the familiar right boot of DrAce out onto the right hand side for Hislops. Then chuck it in once again, hold the line, get ready to then chuck it to the right hand side. A little bit of front brake there, just to slow the motorcycle down. And now we're right on the back of the rest of the pack. Ralph Wack, Patrick Holmes. Now I hope they no longer crash into the corner up here into the right hand side. So far, oh yeah, there's crashes. Oh, there's carnage. Oh, and more carnage. There's tons of riders just going down. Oh, it's so annoying that the AI does that. I was rather hoping for a interesting Grand Prix, where I could do the spinneroony and then chase them down and then defeat them on home soil. I do love this track. I absolutely adore it. As Zhu Jiaohao is now leading this Grand Prix. I did try and pronounce that, and hopefully that just wasn't that bad. Well, we now have Adam Marchand ahead of us, Chester Anderson, Artur Nunes Fontana, and then of course in first place Zhu Jiaohao. So we're now going to Denton, so be careful on the brakes here into Cascades, because it can sort of dip away from you without unbeknown to you, as goodness me, without any warning. I was trying to say, but as we bumped into the back of Adam Marchand, just give the Frenchman a bit of a chuck onto the rear. It's annoying playing Ride 4 than MotoGP sometimes, because the collision detection is so different as we dive up in the inside into the Shell Oils corner. That was beautifully done. And I noticed the same thing in Moto 2. The collision detection is different from Moto 3 to Moto 2 and then into MotoGP in the MotoGP games. And then in Ride 4, they just seem to have some sort of weird barrier around them. It's very strange. The same thing can be said for Monster Energy Supercross 4 as well. Now, the Spinaroonie did not hinder us at all, as we're going to be attacking Charles Cooper, could potentially go around the outside, and that is what we do. And thus, going forward, we'll tackle Arthur Nunes Fontana, the Brazilian rider ahead of us. Could go for a cheeky lunge here. That's an aggressive move. I ever did see one into the Knickerbrook. Beautifully done there. And we now have the Finnish rider, Alatalo, just ahead of us on track. We'll be pursuing the Chineseman in a moment, but right now, following the Finnish rider, and the Chineseman's gone down. And I think, oh, the Finnish rider, beautifully done there. But we are now up into the lead with a whopping lead already. 0.3 of a second. That's going to go up probably high seconds before the end of this Grand Prix. So going into the Lodge corner, beautifully navigated. Chuck it onto the left-hand side, chuck out the bum, chuck out the elbows, chuck out the arms on the left-hand side to really pull the motorcycle in, and then brake into the Old Hall corner. So something I want to mention on Ride 4, and I've been playing a lot of MotoGP, as you know, and the braking is a lot different to MotoGP 21 and Ride 4. It's very different in its own way, but I must say it has somewhat helped on Ride 4, but at the same time it's hindered my performance, because I am rather gentle on the brakes on Ride 4 now. I'm very gentle compared to the likes of what I used to be. I used to be quite aggressive, only in the sense of still being smooth, but you could be quite firm on the brakes. Not abrupt, but you could be firm on the brakes. Here I'm still gently braking in and gradually gliding in, which makes for probably a smoother experience. However, it's probably not as quick as it once were. In MotoGP 21, you have to be gentle on the brakes, because if you firmly apply them, you do tend to find that you end up stopping and the rear wheel will lift. But most of the time, for me, I'm rather smooth on the brakes, especially in the Moto2 and MotoGP classes. Sometimes I'm a little bit too smooth, so then the braking is really gentle and you get beaten. More so the last of the late breakers on Ride 4, I did find that was a lot easier to manipulate the brakes. But in MotoGP 21, it's its own beast, it's its own sort of technical challenge. But here in Ride 4, I do feel rather comfortable once again with these motorcycles. Now, I did feel that it was going to be a case of MotoGP and then you would have all your skills from Ride 4 zapped from you, but it doesn't seem to be the case right now. It seems to still be being able to be competitive. Now, granted, the AI is rather weak on Ride 4. It is certainly weaker than the challenges on MotoGP 21, which is a damn shame, because Ride 4 does usually bring out the best of me in the sense of time trials, so we get a random wheelie there. Don't know why this game still does that, but it's still there. And I don't know if other players get the same issue, but I just get random wheelies at some point. Of course, there is no anti-wheelie on this bike, and there's no traction control either. There's just a little bit of engine brake. I think it's either on 1 or 2. Might be on 2, I don't really recall. But now it is time to chuck in some fast lap times. Let's see how well we can improve the lap time of a 1:40.584. I very much doubt anyone's going to get anywhere near our lap time. So let's go into the Shell Oils corner in a moment. Chuck it hard on the brake. As you can see in the bottom right corner of your screen there, actually, we didn't even attain 100% braking. It was about 75%, maybe? 50 to 75, 50 to 80%. That is usually all I need. Going for 100% here, though, for Britons, because you need that extra braking just to really chuck the motorcycle in. But once that's navigated, it's now full acceleration, a little bit gentler, of course, going up the hill, because you don't want to wheelie the motorcycle, but going into the right-hander of Hislops, nice and gentle on the brakes, touch the apex there, and touch the apex once again for the left-hand side, and then fling it to the right for the Knickerbrook. Beautifully done. I tend to weave a little bit to the left there to then chuck it into the right, because if you try and make that corner with already being on the right-hand side, it's going to be really difficult to then pick up the motorcycle and push it in. And of course, this is a motorcycle. It's a little bit heavier than what we've used in the past, such as when we did the time trial here back in the day with the Kawasaki Ninja. It's a little bit different. This bike is a lot heavier, and of course it is a naked, so it's not as smooth. But I do rather enjoy using this particular bike. I didn't think I would like it at first, and honestly, there's so lack of Harley Davidsons in the game that I rarely touch them, only if it was in a challenge that I had to use. But now I think I'll actually be able to get the level 5 affinity with Harley Davidson now, or level 4, whatever it is required for the track days, or to become the test rider, that's it. Whatever it is to become the test rider, I've forgotten what I was going to say there. But the Harley Davidsons will be utilised a little bit more now. There's some decent bikes. Even got the sort of like super sport Harley Davidson as well. Now, they're not my most favourite motorcycles in the world by a long shot, but I do rather enjoy using them in Ride 4. I don't think there's a bad bike in Ride 4, to be honest with you. I don't think there's one that I would say never again. Maybe the Ego, the Energy Go on the electric bike. I'm not a fan of that. It just doesn't seem to do anything. The brakes are pretty bad on it, even regardless of upgrading or not. It's Certainly not my most favourite motorcycle, but the rest of them still very, very positive. So on the 29th of June, just in a couple of days' time, we do have a bonus pack for Ride 4 coming out, which of course will be free. Bonus pack DLC number 11. Not sure what the bike is going to be, but it will include a couple of events and one particular motorcycle, so I look forward to seeing that one. We'll be doing a video on that in the week. So of course, as always, stay tuned. Oh, and stay ace, because that's the best way to staying positive. So stay ace and enjoy the content on Tuesday or whatever it's going to be. And of course, this week we'll have a more sort of content to come out for you. Monster Energy Supercross on Monday, followed by the MotoGP 21 race recap. And of course the weekly challenge on Tuesday, and if I can get a chance to chuck in some more videos on that day, I'll certainly chuck in some more. Then the rest of them is going to be MotoGP, and then we'll fill it out with other bike games in there as well. So guys, brilliantly done. Another Grand Prix victory for DrAce in Ride 4, but that will conclude the video. So I hope as always you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single DrAce upload. And upon that note guys, thank you for watching, and ciao for now. Oh hi! Didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.